In this episode of how CSGO pros use their smokes, we will look into how and why Astralis use their smokes on Dust2 to make certain plays. Some of the smokes can be used if you play solo, and others are more advanced setups that can be enjoyed watching or used on a team-based level to make well-organized executes and defense plays. Before we jump right into it, please hit that subscribe button. In this one, Device throws a basic smoke that is often used to let the CTs come unseen from spawn to B side, but Device uses the smoke to cover himself like a one-way smoke. This sets him into a superior position that makes it very difficult for any tease that tries to peek him from top mid. From outside his point of view, you can see from this close range how much visibility it takes away, and from long range it's of course even harder to see him. He's not lucky to get any advantage from the precision in this round. Instead he takes down Stewie that jumps down suicide unprepared of anyone peeking. In the next example, you will see how a simple long smoke is used to gain ground and opens up possibilities. Astralis is not trying to take long control early in the round as they don't have that much utility, so they let Team Liquid throw some of their utility while just hold and double peek from car and CT. They wait until they see that no one is coming, then Glaive lines up this smoke for long door and start moving forward to gain ground held by two flashes. The smoke is used to eliminate the long door spot, and because Zipex has been holding the line from car, they know that no one is in pit. This puts Glaive in a much better position where he only needs to focus on the last spot behind the blue container. He knows he's an underdog with his deagle and no armor, so he bounces a nade off the wall to potentially damage an enemy before taking the fight, but no enemies is here. Glaive has now gained control over long area, which gives Zipex the opportunity to fall back and get into another position. The smoke also let Glaive cross the doors to get into a more advantageous position without being seen by Naf that peeks from outside long. He's then given the information that Team Liquid are pushing short, and at the same time he can hear Naf is running towards mid, which gives him a clue that he can move forward to gain more ground. He slowly moves forward and gets into a position close to top mid behind this blue barrel to wait for a player to come. It's close, but unfortunately for Astralis he gets killed by Nitro. If he was able to kill him, it would have opened up the opportunity to lock Team Liquid in from behind and significantly increase the chances for Astralis to either win or end the round with a satisfying result. So what seems like a simple smoke actually opens up some possibilities to really gain ground if the T's are not going in their direction. In continuation of the previous long smoke example, Astralis often use a basic smoke to prevent the T's from pushing long early in the round and take control. It's the player with the best spawn towards long that throws the smoke. Before throwing the smoke, the player molly off long doors to eventually do some damage if a T player decides to push. The molly also allows the smoke to pop instantly. After the pop, the player usually sits in this position for a short period of time, ready if someone should push through. He then repositioning himself either behind the blue barrel or farther away in the pit or something. It's almost never smart to push through a smoke as there often stays one on the other side waiting for you. But if you take into consideration that the smoke lasts for around 16 seconds, you can do a play like Zipex does here. Right after he throws the smoke, he starts rotating back and leave long open. Already after 10 seconds, he's all the way up here close to short, and it has opened up the possibilities to make some early aggression towards mid, of course with some help from a player in CT mid. In this example, you will see how Astralis used the smoke grenades to take early map control and make a well-organized execute on A side. To get that early map control, Glaive and Dupree jumps down as the third thing in the round through suicide and out into mid, where Dupree throws a smoke on catwalk to block the view from CT mid. This while Glaive flashes through mid door and short to help them get through the smoke and control short area as fast as possible. Device supports Glaive and Dupree's early push by spamming the mid door with his SG. Magisk has in the meantime secured that no one is pushing upper tunnels, and Zipex has secured that no one is pushing long doors. They now gather up in mid to make an A execute. Prior to the execute, Device and Glaive lines up two effective CT smokes that split up the map and gives the B players a hard time helping their teammates on A. Right after Glaive has thrown his smoke, he moves up to Dupree that is ready to execute. Zipex flashes over the wall and both Dupree and Glaive jumps down into CT where they find a leash coming out of the smoke. As you can see, the two CT smokes are really effective to block off any sight from CT mid and makes it accessible to enter and take control over CT spawn. CT spawn is in this case an area of the map that for Team Liquid is a crucial pathway if they want to retake A side, as Astralis already got short control from early in the round. It's now easy for Astralis to secure the rest of A side as Trist and Nav sits deep into A long. Zipex now throws the last smoke at corner of the A cross. The smoke lands so it blocks the side from A long and opens up some possibilities. Eventually a player could throw some utility deep into long without being out in the open, or he would be able to enter the site by going up at ramp. In this case, all Astralis players is alive and they choose a faster and more safe approach by boosting Glaive up so he can move to short where the bomb is planted for. In this example, you will see how Astralis opens up the round as in the previous example, but instead of going short, they gather up in tunnels to execute into B. Once again, Dupree and Glaive jumps out into mid, where Dupree throws his smoke at Catwalk to block off CT mid, while Magisk and Device supports them from spawn. Glaive takes control over short area, while Dupree goes through lower tunnels and gather up with Magisk, Device and Zipex at upper tunnels, where they get ready to execute into B side. Glaive is still back at mid, where he right before the Catwalk smoke fades, throws a Molotov close to mid door and lines up a smoke for B doors. This is a really useful smoke, as lower ranked players often wait to smoke B doors until they get into sight from upper tunnels. The smoke eliminates one of the two entrances to the site from CT mid and makes it unable for a player to peek in and out from B doors, which can be highly effective as a CT player. Glaive is also now in a good position to potentially slow down or kill the Team Liquid players that come through CT spawn or short. Back at the upper tunnels, I actually like how they not just rush out as they are blind by all the flashes. Many players will often get mad and excuse each other for blocking, but high level players know that if all players are flashed, the essential crosshair placement and pre-aiming is taken away, so they wait as the chance for getting killed is way higher than killing an enemy. However, it should be said that pro players often rush out on site even though they are blind, but then they have a player playing anti-flash, which makes him able to trade if one of his teammates get killed. Astralis' structured playstyle is often mentioned, and as in this case, they really manage to keep their structure in place regardless of what happens. They know that one player might be at backside and therefore they molly him out so Magisk is able to kill him. From here, Magisk is very patient and aware that someone could be hiding in the smoke trying to get in behind them and shoot them in the back. As expected, Stewie comes out of the smoke, but luckily for Magisk he's blind so he can easily kill him. If we take it from Zipex's point of view, you can see that he's not in a hurry to plant the bomb as fast as possible. Instead, he first clears the car and let his teammates get into position so they can cover him while he plants the bomb. This is a classic example of how Astralis play the game, as they do not take any unnecessary risks that lead the game into a lower probability success rate. Instead, they keep faith in their structure and take one moment at a time. The last thing I want to do is to go through the smoke lineups used in this video. First, let's start with the long door smoke that Glaive throws from car. You go straight into the back handle of the car, turns around and aim at the corner of the building and simply left click throw. The smoke flies over the roof, bounces off the wall and pops right in between the doors. Next is the two CT smokes. If we start with Glaive's lineup, you go into the middle of this flat corner, turn around, aim for this black dot and then you left click throw. The smoke lands nicely in the middle, but as you can see you are still able to peek all the way to long, and that's why Astralis also used this second CT smoke. Come into this corner, crouch down and find the fifth plank from the left where you aim at this point, then you make a jump throw. The smoke bounces up on the box and in combination with the other smoke you can see how it is impossible to peek into CT along. The B-door smoke is the most advanced since it requires the timing of a run jump throw. You go into the fence and aim at the second pin from the left. Then you turn around, aim at this point on the right side of the wire. Then you run and release your jump throw after 200 milliseconds. The smoke bounces a few times before it lands perfectly on the outside of doors. The catwalk smoke, which allows to take early control over mid and short, is simply just thrown while running. You don't have to be really precise, just aim at this part of the wall. You can see how a CT player cannot spot you when you run through the smoke unless they go close to mid doors, but this is an exposed position for utility. This was the first episode of a new series where I will break down how pro teams use their smokes and other utilities to make different plays and strategies. I will put in some effort to make it as practical as possible so you can use it in your own game, and I will show something for both solo and team players.